All right, so um, couple thoughts on the election, and as y'all know, this election is seriously the most divisive election in our lifetime. Hell, I thought the last one was bad. This one is clearly worse. You hear people talk about the lesser of two evils. One major problem with that statement is that it's still evil that you're choosing. Personally, I feel like neither side deserves my vote. Not Biden, not Trump. Took a lot of thought on my part to make my decision, not just follow the crowds. So basically, what this is to me is why Trump will not get my vote and why Biden will not get my vote. From the moment Donald Trump, aka 45, aka 48 minus 3, aka the orange bastard, announced he was running for president, many looked at it as a joke. And I'm talking about in 2016. People viewed him as not presidential. Hell, I still view him as not presidential. Even after almost 4 years on the job, we still view him like that. To me, a president is supposed to be worthy of the utmost respect. A man that your children would look up to and aspire to be. Sorry, 45 was never that to me. He's had many bumps across the road. Many. And I guess that's an understatement. Whether it's how he protects and coddles his racist supporters, to the way he downplayed the coronavirus, which has now killed over 230,000 people at last count. His road has been a rocky one as President of the United States. There have been so many incidents where you're left shaking your head at things he says and does. Granted, he came from a reality show and is obviously more of an entertainer than a politician. It seems like he underestimates the responsibility of his office. Well, there's many times that we've heard about him not reading the security briefings and also saying he knows more than the generals in the military. How so? How the hell do you know more than generals in the military and you don't even read the security briefings? So, I wonder if that's, an actual true statement. Either way, we heard things about building a wall along the Mexican border and Mexico paying for it. Even obviously that didn't happen. I'm not the biggest fan of illegal immigration, but a wall is not truly necessary. Now, if I'm correct, not much of it was built, and what was built was not paid by Mexico. It was also damaged. It's flimsy as hell from what I remember. This isn't the 1400s where walls would do some good. And speaking of immigration, what was the need of separating the children from their parents at the border? Somebody said something about coyotes in the last debate. Maybe that had something to do with it, which I learned that night that coyotes are actually smugglers that actually help to smuggle over the small children. But I can't really see many people letting their small children get smuggled over without them. That's just weird to me. Anyway, help me understand that. I don't. One point, over 1,500 children were taken from their parents. And as recently as the end of last month, as many as 545 were still separated from their parents. Now, I also hear that Trump was supposed to be trying to fight sex trafficking, which that's a great thing. But he's quiet about it. And also, a great start, I guess we could say, would be to not put children in cages in the first place or separating them from their parents. And why is it when it comes to things like racism, he can't stand on what he said? He'll say something, but then if you ask him about it, he'll waffle and he'll try to sidestep it. There's a video that came out shortly after the Charlottesville incident, about 2 days after. Trump said that he denounced all forms of racism and white supremacy. So why is it when someone asks him about it again, because he's always making excuses for the racists, that he doesn't bring that up, or he doesn't stand on a current denouncement of racism and white supremacy? That's another thing which makes me scratch my head when it comes to him. I don't get it. I truly don't. But also, he still has not apologized for putting out that full-page ad in the New York Times about the Central Park Five, calling for their deaths. Even now that they've been found innocent and they've been exonerated, and even a Netflix special miniseries was actually put out regarding the Central Park Five. Crazy. And nothing has been done about it still. Anyway, his actions as a whole have his followers embracing their inner racist. That is something which I've said for almost 4 full years now. They think it's okay to treat people who are not white in a really bad and negative way. They're doing the equivalent of asking black people for their papers back in the slavery days. They do it time and time again. Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Hey, where's your key? You don't live here. Why are they doing stuff like that? That literally has nothing to do with anything, period. I don't get it. Help me understand that. They're dealing with all we as black people are dealing with all that kind of crap. And the levels of disrespect, and we know it's because of him, that's not going to fly. That's going to actually make it harder for him to get reelected by the people based on votes. Now, can we talk about the charities run by his children? They have cheated the charities so much in the state of New York, they're not even allowed to run charities anymore. What does that say? But he has the nerve to talk about Biden's son, Hunter, the one who was supposedly 50 and a cokehead and doing who knows what with who knows who. There were supposedly some pictures on Hunter's laptop. One of them had a credit card of Malia Obama. And I don't know why they would be hanging out, but that's really beside the point at this point. Trump's children are clearly benefiting from Trump being in the White House. And before he should be throwing stones, he should realize he lives in a glass house. Anyway, you look at that. You look at his reaction to the coronavirus. I'm not confident in him just based on that. People can say the numbers are fake, but I know people who've actually caught the virus. And I have a friend who actually works at a hospital. And if I hear something from him, this is a person who I've known over 20 years, that I can vouch for what he's telling me to be real and honest. So anywho, to me, he's done a very, very poor job about it. And he's having these super spreaders, and even the rallies that he's having, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's social distancing. The whole thing is crazy, if you ask me. It's totally, absolutely nuts. Now, does a leader with this kind of record deserve another 4 years? Look at his record in this pandemic. I can't say with a straight face that he deserves 4 years. Now, let's talk about this incident in Michigan regarding the planned kidnapping of Governor Whitmer. And Trump's handling of that situation was very poor. If you're the leader of a country and someone's trying to kidnap the governor of the state, which is the leader of that particular state, why haven't you spoken out against that? You kind of like played it off and brushed it off like you do a lot of other things where you talk about fine people and all that other mess. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. Because you're not protecting your people. You don't speak negatively about the suspects. That's really not a good look. And as a veteran of the United States Army, speaking of myself, I'm supposed to respect the offices of government. President Trump's actions made me realize, while I respect the office of the President of the United States, I do not respect the actual man. I just don't. But because there are two main contenders here, let's not think that I wasn't going to speak about former Vice President Joe Biden. If you ask many people why they would vote for Biden, first two things they would say is, one, he's not Trump. And two, he was Obama's backup for 8 years and didn't try to upstage Obama at any point. So basically, they want Biden in the office for just doing his job. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he did nothing impressive as vice president. He was just in a whole lot of memes with Obama as basically his go-to guy, looking like a the white thug, the henchman ready to go do something upon the boss's orders. That's what he looked like in those memes. But outside of that, I can't really think of anything that he really did. So he was Obama's backup, as vice president for 8 years. And what is he going to do as president that he didn't do in over 40 years of being in Congress? I'm 51 years old. That man has been in Congress and government for over 90% of my life. Suppose he's been in 47 years in government? It's a long time. He's literally been in over 90% of my life. I'm 51. 90% of my life is going to be 45.9 years. But what has he done outside of creating the crack bill in 88? And people say, well, crack was all over the place, destroying the whole world, destroying the United States. Unfortunately, no, it was destroying black neighborhoods. And they were sentencing people more harshly than they were for cocaine. And of course, back then, at that time, cocaine was definitely a white person's drug as opposed to crack, that actual version of cocaine, being a black person's drug. And the 94 crime bill, which has unfortunately broke up many families. Either way, any way you slice it, Biden has got a bit of a racist history that a lot of people are trying to sidestep. And, well, to me, that's really not enough. Now, another thing that he was saying with his racist past, he's, obviously proud of the fact of those bills. And he also said he didn't want his own children to grow up in a racial jungle. You don't want your children around black children. Maybe you want to separate from black people. That's fine with me. You want to separate? Separate. Just don't expect my vote. A positive of Biden being in office would be that he'd be more presidential than Trump. But hell, that's kind of obvious. My 18-year-old son, even though he's not old enough to be president, would be more presidential than Trump. Even a goofball like Adam Sandler would be more presidential than Trump. Apologies to Adam Sandler. He'll definitely take the coronavirus situation more seriously. Now, a major concern to me concerning Biden is his age and his vice presidential pick, Kamala Harris. Joe Biden is 77. He'll be 78 on November 20th. By the time Inauguration Day hits, he'll be 78 years old. After 4 years of office, he'll be 82. That means he will literally be the oldest president ever elected to be president of the United States. And there have been times over the last year or so that he's been noticed to seem to have been losing cognitive skills. Like he's losing track of where he's speaking. One time he was doing a quick 1-minute video and said that he was running for senator and not for president. I don't know how you make that mistake. That's not a good thing. But at that age, and the stress of the most stressful job on the planet, age plus stress could equal his demise. I'm not wishing death on anyone by any means. I'm just speaking logically. And if he was to end up passing away, that means that his VP, Ms. Harris, would be president. Now, during the presidential campaign for the nomination of the Democrats, if I'm correct, she placed no better than 6th. But because Biden chose her as the VP candidate, a choice that I personally didn't agree with, but who am I? Now all of a sudden, because she was his choice, she would be second in command. So she could literally end up sneaking into the presidency. It's possible, and it would still be shocking if it was to happen. Personally, as a black man, I'm not rooting for her myself. I'm a black man as opposed to being called a person of color. To me, the two terms are not interchangeable. When she said she's not doing anything to benefit black people specifically, but she does have something planned to benefit her Indian people who were immigrating from India. I believe it's the H-1B plan. And just this past week, Vice President Biden was asked about the violence in Philadelphia after an unnecessary murder of a black man. His response was, there's no excuse for the looting and the violence. Keep in mind that the police were actually called to a scene where a young black man was having a mental health episode, and the police were not requested to be there. Medical personnel was what was requested. Now, Biden says the first group that he's looking out for is the LGBTQ group. I guess that's politics. Now, for me, I want tangibles. What are you going to bring to black people specifically? I'm not concerned about people of color, nor the LGBTQ. I'm black. First. Period. Now, as we know, Trump's election has encouraged his followers to embrace their inner racist. Matter of fact, some of them yesterday, no, not yesterday, excuse me. I think it was it yesterday or was it Saturday? No, I take that back, it was Friday. Biden had a bus heading toward Austin, and a bunch of Trump supporters actually got the bus to slow down to 20 miles an hour. They had surrounded the bus, and they even outnumbered police, from what I hear, 50-1. They're doing that to the actual Biden campaign bus. Now, my question is, if Biden is elected, is he going to put an end to all of the antics from the Trump supporters? Or is he going to put an end to their antics of harassment and intimidation? Personally, I think the answer is no. And if the answer is no, why should he get my vote? Let me finish this by saying I did vote early because no one stopped me from voting. Period. I don't care. I voted because they say our ancestors died to vote. No, our ancestors got killed for it. I'm voting so that way I know no one's stopping me from that. But neither of the two got my vote for President of the United States. I did that based on principle, and I stand by that. I say it with my chest, and I stand by my decision 10 toes down. All I know is whoever wins, congratulations. Biden wins, congratulations. If Trump wins, congratulations. If the Libertarian candidate wins, congratulations. Green Party, whoever, congratulations. And, well, let's see what happens. All I know is I am glad to live in a country where I am able to vote. I'm able to speak my mind without any consequences. I'm able to do what I want to do. I have that freedom. All I can say is, let's see what happens. Y'all have a good night. And I hope you voted. If you did, cool. If you didn't, still cool. Whoever you voted for, cool as well. Have a good night. Peace.